The following podcast contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
The Showdown Podcast with Corey and Vic. The debate on what movie is better, Corey's choice versus Vic's choice. They each plead their case and try to destroy the others. It's a combat of subjective opinion. I'm Brad Scott, your impartial judge, and as always, my say is final. Welcome to the Showdown Podcast. I am your host, Brad Scott, and I'm joined, like always, by Corey, Crushing Pussy, Miller, and we are actually, for the second week alone, we have some bad news. Vic Miller, who is our normal combatant in the showdown, unfortunately is in jail. He was arrested for being black on a Wednesday, and we are starting
there on a Saturday.
It's still there, yeah, still there. We are starting a GoFundMe page for Vic to try to raise his bail. So please keep him in your thoughts, your prayers. We're gonna have free Vic shirts that we'll have available for purchase through our Twitter page. He's not. He didn't go to jail. He hurt his foot.
That's a big
miscommunication. I think that's probably my fault. So Vic is apparently a free man. Good for Vic. I wonder if he can adjust to life back on the outside.
I guess we'll have to cancel those T-shirts.
Shit.
Don't need to order those.
I'm sure he'll get arrested at some point. We might as well just save him.
All right.
But no, we wish Vic a speedy recovery. We miss you, buddy. Although I'm getting a lot more airtime, so I can't say I complain too much. So take all the time you need, Vic. But no, get back soon.
I think he's just scared that I'm going to beat him in these next two episodes.
Oh, he's terrified of your sub 500 record?
Yes. And so he's afraid and doesn't want to record them.
Okay. Well, you have big news, right?
I do. We talked about in the last episode that I mentioned that I would put The Den on my Netflix list and would watch it. Mm-hmm. And you said, no, you won't. I did, and I watched it.
Okay, excellent.
See. I didn't think it was too bad. There were some things that I kind of was kind of meh about, but overall, I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It was it got a little annoying at times.
Just like
some of the characters.
But it's any horror film.
It's like some of the characters were always pissed off right at the as soon as you meet them, they're all pissed off. Like the one girl that it was like the girl's boyfriend's like cousin or something that she found on his friend's thing.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't talked to. And she's like, as soon as she gets on there, she's got an attitude and then reports her. It's like, really?
That's people though. Go read a comment thread on Facebook and tell me those aren't the same people.
Yeah, well, maybe so.
But they were tame because they weren't calling her a terrorist and telling her to go back to her own country. So those people were actually pretty civil. But that's Hollywood for you.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you were surprised.
Yeah, not my top 100, but decent enough.
Well, but
it was only an hour. It was like an hour and 15 minutes or something. It was really short.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
You don't have to hit 90 minutes to make it.
No, you don't. I prefer an hour and a half now. I used to be, if it's not 2 hours, it's like, it's not even, it's like, it's, not going to be that great. But now
it's a movie, it's not a film.
Yeah. So it's, anymore, I'm like looking for movies on Netflix, hour and a half. All right, cool. I can get 2 of these in here. Mm-hmm. So, which really helps in my, I'm trying to do the Doug Benson movie challenge for this year, which is watch a movie a day for the entire year. So watch 365 movies in a year. I'm a little behind right now.
How behind are you?
I'm up to 88.
What day are we in?
Like 100 and something.
Ooh, that's not good.
I think we're close to 100. I'd have to double check that.
We got to be over 100, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
31 days in January, correct?
Yeah,
Is that right?
31, 28, 59.
And then 30 in March.
So
right? Or 31 in March.
59, 60, that's 90 right there. Plus today...
We're at 115th day.
115. Yeah, 115, and I'm at 88. So,
you're
I'm
not gonna make
27
it.
behind. Oh, I can make it up.
You are not. I doubt it. Like,
I just watched 2 today, and
you are going to lose the challenge.
I watched 2 today and watched 2 last night, so that helped.
Yeah,
that helped a little.
Now you just have another 27 to go.
Yeah, well,
and to be on pace. By the way,
yeah, I know. I got to start watching like 2 or 3 a day. Usually on the weekends, I can make them up and watch about 4, 5, 6 on a weekend. But yeah, it's gonna. I got a little catching up to do. But I'm going to Colorado this week, and so I'm going to lose out a little bit on that as well too. So I'm going to fall a little bit farther behind.
That's all I would do though in Colorado is just smoke weed and go to movies. Because you could probably smoke weed in the theater. God bless you, Colorado. God bless you,
Colorado. We love you.
Let's get to the list.
Let's get to it.
It's the part 2 episode. So it was so dramatic it needed to go again. No, this is part 2, our number 49 to number 1 of, again, our original idea for the show, which was Corey's top 100 versus my top 100, and we quickly abandoned that idea for greener pastures. But we're going to revisit it for these 2 very special episodes that we are dedicating to Vic and his ongoing battle with death and incarceration. So back to the list. Corey, why don't you start us off and go from, let's hear your number 49 to 40.
You want to go 49 to 40? All right. 49 is the original Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, I think...
the classic with Ving Rhames.
No. The original. Not the remake. Yeah.
So this one does not have Ving Rhames.
This one does not have Ving Rhames. Actually, to tell you the truth, I like that one. But... As far as remakes go, I think I kind of changed my tune a bit. I used to think that they were pointless and unnecessary, and with that one, I actually kind of like, all right, I'll just
I like a good remake.
Yeah, it's like,
especially if it's done in like a different way. I even don't even mind the rehashing, like when they bring like that new Child's Play movie. Curse of Chucky.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good movie.
Still haven't seen it yet.
I thought it was a good movie. And I know people hate that. Oh, why can't they come up with anything original? Well, when they do come up with original stuff, people shit all over anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, with the original Dawn of the Dead, though, I still stand by it. I think, yeah, Night of the Living Dead, I think, yeah. Let me backtrack a bit. I do like this Dawn of the Dead. I didn't like Day of the Dead. I just thought it was... I think it gets a little too much credit from the horror fans as being this awesome movie. But Dawn, I really like. I've got the box set that's got the Italian version. This version has got like 4 different versions, and I've seen almost every one of them. So
the collection is this number.
No, it's just the original. I like the original, okay. But it's got different versions, and they're just slightly different. Like in the Italian, they changed the music, so
just imagine all the zombies are just going down a river with a giant stick, singing.
Yeah, there's a
or
thriller,
they're trapped on the roof of an Olive Garden.
There's a thriller dance scene in it. No, I'm just kidding. Carrying on at number 48, Get 'Em to the Greek.
Oh, good movie.
Yes. This, I don't know how many times I've seen this. Seen it way too many times. Still laugh every time. And, can't beat it. Number 47, Devil's Rejects. Now, a lot of people do not like Rob Zombie or his movies. This one I thought was amazing.
Why don't people like his movies?
I don't know.
I like them. I think they're dark.
Yeah.
They're pretty dark.
I think it's because I like House of a Thousand Corpses. I really do. It's got that. It's just basically a funhouse type feel to it, and and it's totally different. I remember going to see that when it first came out, and I was really excited about seeing it, and I was glad it came out. When they finally put it out. And then Devil's Rejects came out, and that was a totally different feel to the movie. Very gritty, very raw, and it's kind of funny. He took these characters from the first film who were the bad guys. They were evil. You didn't like them.
Yeah.
He took them in Devil's Rejects and made them to where you did like them. It's like they were not. Now you're seeing everything through their eyes. Basically, it's just I just love it. I've seen it so many times, and just I can't get it out of my top 50. At least right now. Number 46, going back to childhood, Goonies.
Didn't like that movie.
Really?
Just didn't do anything for me. No, I don't know, man. There's parts that I think just grossed me out as a kid. Like that fat kid, the whole movie. Just anytime he talked or anytime he just was gross to me. He reminded me of the fat guy in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Yeah. Just for some reason, just the way he looked grossed me out.
He's like a bodybuilder now.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's he's come a long way. He's actually a lawyer too.
Really?
Or no, he's not. Maybe he's not a lawyer. He's either a lawyer or an agent.
Does he work for Snickers bars?
No.
That's interesting. Or no, it was Baby Ruth.
Yeah, Baby Ruth.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Tells you how much I know about.
Yeah, exactly. Number 45, all-time classic, very first film that I saw of his and made me a fan for life, and that is Clerks. Yes, Kevin Smith's very first film, and spawned not one, but about to be a second sequel. If you look, it's funny on the sequel. If you watch the credits and you pause it, my name is in there. I'm actually listed. It is me. At the time when they were shooting the film, MySpace was big, and so he's like, anybody that becomes friends with this account, the Clerks 2 account, your name will get listed in the credits of Clerks 2. So if you look, you have to pause it, and you have to. At the time, I haven't looked at it in such a long time. Only when it first came out.
You need the FBI zoom.
Yeah, you have to zoom in because the names are so small because there's so many. So yeah, but Clerks 2 is great. It's just it's classic, and it spawned Kevin's career. Number 44, Ghostbusters.
Oh, great movie.
Yes,
one of Bill Murray's best movies.
Yeah, I think so. Hell. Right up there with Stripes and Caddyshack for Bill Murray's best. But yeah, everybody knows that movie. I don't really have...
Is it true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick. That's such a good line.
Yeah, there's a ton of good lines in that. I don't know how excited I am for the reboots or whatever they're going to call it.
The all-female?
Yeah. I don't know.
Sex. Not only are you racist, you're sexist. We're finding out.
Yes, exactly. No, this could be something. It depends on how it's set up. If you take if with this new one, if it's an all female cast, as far as the Ghostbusters go, maybe like one of them is like Venkman's daughter, and he's now dead, and he leaves this will. I don't know what the story is. I don't know if it's even been leaked what the story is going to be. But maybe she inherits the Ghostbuster house or the building, and she goes in there and she finds out about it, and then decides to do it, and then gets some her friends together, and they learn whatever they can, and they become the Ghostbusters. I could see that working to a point. Yeah, there's going to be people like, oh no, it's not good because this doesn't have the original cast. Well, let's see how they work it. Because I think they know.
Plus, it would just be a strange movie with the original cast.
It would be. They're all in their 60s.
Well, plus, doing a movie with the original cast would just be a weird movie. Because you'd have to have somebody pushing Harold Ramis' body around the whole time, like Weekend at Bernie's.
Like Weekend at Bernie's,
yeah. It would just be... It would just be it'd be more of a snuff film.
Yeah.
At that point.
Like I said, it depends on how they work the script. And then I heard, too, that they're going to do another one with the male cast, with the new male cast. So, I don't know if that's... I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to sit there and start talking shit about it right now.
Yeah.
I'll wait and see how it plays
Is
out.
Melissa McCarthy one of the Ghostbusters?
She is.
Of course she is.
Yeah, because, you got to. I don't know.
She is killing it, man. She's getting every role.
Yeah, and I don't
Good for her.
I don't know if I'm getting tired of her shtick or not, though, either.
Yeah, but that's what happens with everybody. But I'm always like, hey, get your money.
Yeah.
Because everybody's sick of Kevin Hart right now. And 2 years ago, everybody said he's the funniest man alive.
Yeah.
Chris Rock went through the same thing. Eddie Murphy, it's what happens. And you can't blame anybody for trying to get as much as they possibly can.
That's very true, but at the same time, then you start to get overexposed and people hate you. But, so it's kind of a catch, and not really a catch-22, but it's...
Sure, it's got to be hard to turn down 10 million, 20 million, whatever. No matter how bad it is. I never blame... I'm not mad at Adam Sandler for the movies he's made. I just stopped watching him. That's all you have to do. If you start to not like him, don't say, I hate him, he should die. Just stop watching his movies, because guess what? If somebody was going to pay you $20 million to go on vacation and film a movie with your family, you'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, number 43 is we're staying in the 80s, and it's Spaceballs. The Star Wars spoof starring Rick Moranis, John Candy, and directed by Mel Brooks. Gotta love it. I don't know how many times I've seen this movie. It's still funny every damn time. And then it's even funny, too, when you watch the original Star Wars Episode 4, and some of the jokes that were in Spaceballs are paralleling what happens in Star Wars. You can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
And so I love it. Number 42, The Running Man. With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. I read that book when I was in middle school.
Totally different story.
It really is.
Yeah. I probably read it at the same time. I think I was in middle school or high school when I read the book, and I really liked it. And the movie is totally different, but that's a case where, it wasn't like the book. Yeah, but it was
still works.
Yeah, it still works. It was still.
I also don't like those people. It's better. The book is better.
The book is better.
Jim Gaffigan has the best joke. You know what I like better about the movie? No reading. That's what I like. And I could take a nap after an hour and a half. I was done.
Yeah, I mean this movie was so over the top. The characters are just classic, and I just loved it. Number 41, Christmas Vacation. I know you did.
I don't hate them. I think they're a little overrated.
Yeah. Well, this is one that I watch every Christmas along with Elf and
Ernest Saves
and
Christmas.
Not Ernest Saves Christmas. I knew you were going to say that. The other one being Christmas Story. I try and watch all those every Christmas, and I've the thing that kills me now is I've liked this movie for a long time. But hearing the stories about Chevy Chase...
Oh, yeah. He's kind of a bad person.
Yeah, it kind of puts a damper on that.
You know they're remaking the vacation movies?
Yes, starring Ed Helms. And he's going to... Chevy Chase is in it.
Going to be it, yeah.
Yeah, because in case you haven't heard, Ed Helms is playing Rusty Griswold. And so it's going to be his family going on the trip, and I guess Chevy...
And isn't the dude that played Rusty still acting? So don't you think he's
Which
got to
one?
kind of be like... Well, yeah, I mean from Vegas, the last one.
From Vegas, that was Ethan Embry.
Yeah, he's got to be like, what the fuck? Why am I not playing the guy I just was?
Yeah.
Why don't we do this in real time?
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's funny. Christmas Vacation, it was a dude from Big Bang Theory. What's his name?
Oh, Jonathan Galecki?
Yeah.
From Roseanne 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he played Rusty in that one. And then the other one... I think he's doing conventions now.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. Hey, get your money.
Yeah. It's like...
It's going to run out at some point.
Hey, how's that guy?
50 years from now, nobody's going to give a fuck about those vacation movies.
Yeah.
You better do it now.
Yeah, I think he gets a pass, though, because doing horror conventions, because he was in one horror movie in the 80s.
Smart, man.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that.
Just like Skippy from... the movie with Michael J. Fox, Family Ties.
Oh, yeah.
He did one horror movie, and he now, 25 years later.
They're going to keep paying him.
Yeah. So number 40, speaking of horror films, Amityville Horror, the original, not the Ryan
With Ryan.
Reynolds.
Oh.
No, sorry. The original with Josh Brolin's dad, James. Great movie, very creepy. And It does have several sequels too, but it's one of those movies I think that with the sequels, you could keep doing sequels, like The Omen, where you could tell a different story. Like with Amityville Horror, another family moves in, new things happen. You could tell a backstory that you may not have...
Yeah, but at some point in time, don't you just destroy the house?
Yeah, you could do that. You could blow it up in the final one, and then maybe like, the next film, somebody comes in and wants to build this new house right on the land that happened on, but the spirits are still there.
You know what would even be better? They burn the house down. The last scene, it's a pile of rubble.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Credits roll. Then a little extra scene at the end. Cleanup crews arrive to pick up the rubble. They're all shocked and amazed to see that the house is perfectly built again. Dun, dun, dun!
We're trademarking that. We're writing that shit.
Damn good idea.
Yeah, when I...
Hashtag Paul Rudd, Stacey Dash, vampire, new Amityville movie. Let's get it going. Trending. Let's get it trending.
I wanted to add somebody else to your list.
Who?
I just watched Everly today, starring Salma Hayek. Mm-hmm. We're adding her to that list too.
She's Latin though.
Yeah.
These are biased. Latin women don't age until it all ages at once. They go from like gorgeous to just grandmother.
Have you seen her lately?
Who? Salma Hayek? No.
Oh damn. Anyhow, I'll pass it over to you for number 49.
49.
That was my number 40.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
My favorite of the original trilogy, the darkest of the original trilogy. One of the biggest movie, spoiler alert, one of the biggest movie shock moments in history of...
This movie's like over 25 years old. If they haven't seen it by now, they're screwing them.
Darth Vader's, well, that was the joke.
Oh.
Again, god damn it. Darth Vader's Luke's father. I mean, it's been parodied. It's everything else. We all know it. It's my number 49. And 48, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, that one's all right.
That one's all right. Best Picture. Sigourney Weaver's
not in this.
No, not Sigourney Weaver. Jodie Foster. Some lesbian-looking broad. Some dyke-looking chick. No.
Anthony Hopkins is creepy, yes. But he's not even in... I think he's only in, like, part of the movie. I heard somewhere how much running time he's actually in the movie.
Who, Anthony Hopkins?
Yeah.
He's like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Yeah. But he still kills it, don't get me wrong.
That's how much his presence was felt. He's the one that's remembered most from that movie.
Yeah. Actually, the thing that's remembered the most is put the lotion in the basket.
I don't know, man. I think the whole...
Him with
the muzzle chained to a...
I don't know, but they spoofed it in Joe Dirt. If you get spoofed in Joe Dirt, it's got to be amazing.
Oh, come on. My number 47 is Half-Baked.
Okay.
To me, one of the funniest movies of all time. I know it's so good. I know it's more than just a stoner movie because the first time I saw it, I wasn't high. I didn't even really smoke weed. I think I'd maybe tried it once. I was like 15 or 16 when I saw it for the first time, and I thought it was the funniest movie. And the more I watch it, even now, it holds up every time. And
we've talked about it. We had it on the show.
We did. And that leads into another one we've had on the show at number 46, Gladiator.
Gladiator.
I love that movie. That was my college movie. I watched that all the time in college because DVDs first came out. And that was an early DVD of mine.
And that's another one we've had on the show already.
Yep.
You can go back and download that on iTunes and maybe Stitcher.
Number 45 is making its first appearance on the show, I believe. But it is a classic, and I probably made a mistake when I chose White Men Can't Jump over this movie, Above the Rim. I probably should have done that for our basketball episode.
Probably should have.
Tupac Shakur, Dwayne Martin, Leon, one name only needed.
His name is just Leon.
That's what I said. One name only is all that's needed.
I was just making sure.
Just Leon. Right. And one of the best soundtracks. Regulators, Pour Out a Little Liquor, The Dog Pound. I mean, it's a
Regulator's the only one I know.
Afro Puffs.
Is that I rock rough and stuff with my Afro Puffs?
Right, rock on with your babe. So, and then Pour Out a Little Liquor.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, you know, Pour Out a Little Liquor.
My roommate at the time, I think when that came out, I think I had a roommate. I think I was already moved out of my parents' house, and he had that soundtrack.
That's 15 seconds. Great song. But a great soundtrack, great
Actually,
movie.
I don't think I've heard that song before.
Dwayne Martin plays a top high school prospect in basketball who is wooed by not only his high school coach to play in this very legendary New York street ball tournament, but also by Birdie, played by Tupac Shakur, who was the gangster in New York at the time. Also, Bernie Mac plays a homeless man who Dwayne Martin and Marlon Wayans, who's also in the movie, kind of rough up before Leon, a.k.a. Shep, comes to his defense.
I might have to go and watch that.
Oh, it's so
I've ever
good.
watched it, to tell you the truth.
It's so good. But number 44 is Knocked Up. Judd Apatow movie, Seth Rogen's first real starring role. That was kind of, wouldn't you say that's like his breakout performance? Aside from maybe 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, I'd say that one. It was just on TV last night.
I think I also like it because, it came out in 2007, and early 2008 is when I found out I had a kid. You know, in a similar fashion. Although it wasn't with a girl who's as hot as what's her name?
Katherine Heigl.
Yeah, who's apparently a giant cunt.
Yeah.
But
allegedly,
she's the female Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a funny movie. Jonah Hill is great in it. Jason Segel is hilarious.
That's your boy.
I love Jason Segel. Number 43 is Secret Window
with Johnny Depp.
Yes, it's Johnny Depp for 80% of the movie by himself. And you don't get bored. I just thought it was good. You also have John Turturro. I did not love John Turturro.
Yeah, I saw it once. I think probably when it first came out. I haven't seen it since then, so I don't remember much about it. I know that he's a writer and he's stuck in his room,
and he ends up being a murderer,
being framed for murder.
No, it wasn't framed. It was all in his. John Turturro's an image in his head. Spoiler alert. Number 42, Comedian. Jerry Seinfeld's documentary. I saw this probably about a month or two after I'd started doing stand-up comedy in a theater in Louisville, because it wasn't playing in Indianapolis. It was only in a handful of theaters around the country. For some reason, it's at Louisville. Me and my friends went because we were big Seinfeld fans. And man, I tell you what, every comedian, especially every new comedian, should watch that movie. And it's just, it's so good. Especially with the commentary with Colin Quinn and Jerry Seinfeld, it's even better. You can watch it two ways and it's good.
I haven't seen it. I did see that in a related thing, Conan has one. That's like...
Well, no, because Conan's is just, I'm going on the road to do this variety show because I'm not allowed to be on TV. Jerry's was, I'm not doing any material I've ever done. He had this one legendary act. I'm telling you for the last time. He did it HBO special on Broadway where he retired that material. So he did this movie as him writing a new hour. And it's the process of him.
I was going to say, is it all behind the sines then?
Yeah. I mean, it's him going out and doing the open mics in New York.
What's up with the planes?
Well, he does agree. His opener was always great. It was, I'm here. I was the biggest star on the planet, biggest TV show of all time. I made it. Now I'm in a comedy club in Cleveland, Ohio. It's just so good. Just
what's up with that?
Watching him go through his process, and then you have so many other comics that are in it as well. Colin Quinn's in it a bunch. Chris Rock, Bill Cosby. He has a whole thing where he sits down with Bill Cosby, and now kind of going back and watching it. You're like, I wonder if he like drugged and raped any of the girls at the show Jerry went and saw him at. Like, I wonder if he was like putting a girl in a closet before Jerry came in with the camera crew, and she's like, she's kind of falling out, and he's got to like prop something up against the door to keep it in, like a sitcom type deal. But it's a super good movie, and there's so many like whenever young comedians ask me for advice, if I give any, a lot of times it's just shit I recycled from that movie because it's all so good, it makes so much sense. I try to pass it off as my own. My number 41 is Semi-Pro.
Eek.
Oh, we mean
sorry,
eek.
I can't.
Jackie Moon.
Yeah.
The Tropics. That movie's so underrated. Woody Harrelson, Will Ferrell, Andre 3000. It's just such a good movie. So funny. The part where he wrestles the bear.
Yeah.
And apparently it's a satire of how those ABA games were when the NBA started to come around.
Yeah. I don't know. I just couldn't get into it.
It's like minor league baseball nowadays.
Yeah.
It's all gimmick and everything else.
I just couldn't get into it. I've seen
Watch it again.
I've seen it one time,
yeah.
And then it was on Comedy Central, and I was like, and there was nothing else on, so I put it on, and it was like in the middle of it, or actually probably towards the end. So I watched some of it, and just like,
No, watch it again. It's really funny. Number 40, Kids.
Not a lot of people, I'm sure, have seen that movie, much less heard of it.
It is, it's from the 90s.
Yes,
it is, it's basically about kids in the inner city.
Yeah. Of New York.
And the stuff that they, can get into. It opens up with
it's Rosario Dawson's first film.
Yes, they open up with this really douchebag type guy who's like I think 17, probably around there, 16, 17, and he sleeps with this girl who then goes and gets tested and finds out that he gave her HIV, and on her way to find him and tell him, it ends up with this huge party. And somebody drugs the girl with HIV, and in one of the biggest, I think probably one of the biggest shocking twist endings, especially for that period of time, was the very last scene where the douchebag's buddy, who couldn't get laid through the whole movie, sees this girl who we already know is positive, tested positive for HIV. She also got tested because of Rosario Dawson getting tested, so it's like a support thing. Remember? Because Rosario was the one that was worried, and she's like, I've only slept with one guy. And so they're like, oh, shit. Like, the girl that's been slutty comes back clean.
Yeah.
And the girl who's one time losing her virginity gets her HIV. She's passed out on the couch. The douchebag who gave her the HIV, his buddy, decides to rape her. Basically, he takes off her clothes and has sex with her, and you're like, "Oh, dude, if you only knew, because we didn't see you put on a condom, so you probably raw dog."
I assume that happened.
Then
or didn't happen.
The very last scene is him just hands in his head, looks up, and says, "What the fuck happened?" And you're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
And it has one of my favorite scenes ever. It's not supposed to be funny, I don't think, but when they're on the subway, there's that guy on the skateboard with the change thing, and he's just riding up and down the subway car going, I have no legs. I have no legs. I have no legs. I have no legs. It's so funny for some twisted, demented reason.
Yeah.
But,
again, that's another one that I haven't seen in a long time.
It's a good movie, though. It's a really good movie. Now, you ready to give us your...
was that your number 40?
That was my number 40.
All right.
Let's hear your 39 to 30.
All right, 39. What do I say about this one? I'll just come out and say it. Desperado, starring Antonio Banderas and the aforementioned Salma Hayek. Great movie. I don't know how many times I've seen this.
Yeah, based on the song.
Yeah,
Desperado.
from the Eagles. Yeah. This is Robert Rodriguez's second film. This actually is kind of a redo of his first film, El Mariachi. And the action in this is awesome. Danny Trejo. I think that's the first time we ever get to see Danny Trejo. And Steve Buscemi's got a part in it. Quentin Tarantino's got a small part in it. Awesome film. I mean, what can you say about a guitar case that's got a machine gun in it?
Yeah, I remember that's what everybody talked about when that movie came out.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Number 38 is a really messed up movie that was talked about, probably still is talked about as far as what exactly happened, and that's Donnie Darko.
Giant rabbit.
Yeah. the creepy rabbit, and which I actually met that dude at a horror convention. We were talking about conventions earlier off air. He was at the first one I ever went to, and he had a mask. He had I don't know what it was made of. It was really heavy though, and it was that rabbit head.
Ugh,
so
it is creepy.
So yeah, what's his name? Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. His sister playing his sister in the movie. Maggie's in it.
She does not play the giant rabbit.
No, she does not.
You get confused at times.
Yeah.
Like, why is his sister doing that?
Yeah.
But it's her. It's not her.
Patrick Swayze's in it, playing a very pervy dude.
When he was alive.
Yes. This movie is just crazy. I don't know how many times I've seen it, and I think every time I watch it, I pick up something a little bit more, and I start to kind of get a little bit of an understanding of what actually happened, because there's flashbacks, and it's like, I don't know, it's
nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. Number 37, my only Bruce Lee movie in this top 100.
Enter the Dragon.
Very good. I mean, that's
it's everybody's favorite.
It's everybody's favorite. If you like a Bruce Lee movie, this is the movie that you'd like. Unfortunately, I had the poster when I was living on my own. I had a humongous version of the poster hanging on my wall. It's kind of been shredded since then. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times I've watched this movie. I mean, it's just my favorite out of all his films, and I like the other movies too. Some of them not so much, but this one definitely amazing film. Number 36. This is one I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen. At least mainstream people, as I like to call them, people that don't generally venture outside and watch foreign films, if you will. Battle Royale. Now, this film, I don't think
it's the Japanese Hunger Games.
It's basically it's what it is. Every year in this futuristic world, there is a class of students that are taken to this island, and from there, they're told that basically they're not getting off the island. Only one person is getting off this island, so they all have to kill each other. Now, keep in mind, they're all classmates. They all know each other. Some better than others. And what's gonna happen is, after they're shown a promotional video, this is all set up by the government to keep population down. So every year, a class is sent to this island. And they're shown this government-made video, which is made... It's so funny to watch it, because... the girl in it, she acts really happy, and as she's telling them, like, there's different sections, and then, you know, that they can go to, and she's like real chipper about it, and as she's saying it, she like sing-songs some words, and the teacher that all these kids know that's there, that's basically telling them and keeping order on everything, he like is all chipper about it too, and so it's really demented in that way. But all the kids are given a backpack. And in the backpack is their only weapon. Some of them have a gun. Somebody might have a sword or a knife. Somebody else might have a frying pan. So some of them might get screwed.
Yeah.
But so, you know, they're going to have to create ways to try and kill people if they can do it. So, and there's some fucked up ways that these kids died. And I'm not going to get into that, but if you get a chance to watch it, it is released here in America finally. For a long time, it was not. The director did not want it released in America because I think he thought that if he did, he'd have to cut down on certain things, cut things out. He didn't want to do it, and for however they did it, they didn't have to do that. So I've got the Blu-ray that I have has 2 different versions on it, which I haven't seen the second one, but it also has the sequel to it, which is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Just new kids?
Yeah, just a brand new class.
New kids on the block?
Yes. And I'm not going to that's a spoiler. I'm not going to talk about that because we're not even talking about that movie. But yeah, that movie, if you get a chance to watch it, if you can find it, definitely check it out if that sounds like something you want to. Number 35 is Grindhouse. That's both movies, Planet Terror and Death Proof. I saw this when it came out in the theaters. You know, in between both movies, you had the fake trailers, and I just loved them both. They were just fun to watch. A lot of people give Tarantino shit for Death Proof, saying it was boring, but I liked it. I mean, it was sorry, but I really dug it. Number 34 is a movie that the sequel is being worked on now, and if you go out there and if you can try and donate to get the sequel made, the original Super Troopers.
Oh yeah, Broken Lizard.
Yes. This one, who hasn't played the Meow game? I mean, seriously. This movie's hilarious. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. And again, if you have seen it, they're trying to raise money to make the second one because they've hit their goal. But if they can get more, then it's going to be even better. I was listening to Heffernan and Lemmy's podcast where they were talking with the other guys, and they were talking about the whole fundraising thing, and they're like, we've made our goal, but we've got more things that we want to do, so we can make these even better if we can raise the money. And they've got, depending on how much money you give, you get certain things. I think it's like $10,000, and you can become a producer. You can be an actual producer on the film. So
if you haven't seen the first one, go do it right meow.
Yes. I'm actually setting up a GoFundMe to raise $10,000
to be a producer,
so I can be a producer on there. Mm-hmm.
Just don't cater gay weddings, and you'll be fine.
Yes. Number 33 is Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, the original, not the one starring Vince Vaughn. That was
never give me a chance to do that goddamn joke.
What? I didn't know that.
Didn't know how to joke. You say Psycho, I say one of Vince Vaughn's best performances, and then because obviously you're not talking about that. But go ahead.
Yes. Well, I didn't know you were going to do that. You should.
I did it on the first one, and you cut me off the other two.
I didn't remember. So anyway, Psycho. It's a black and white movie, so I'm surprised you've even seen it.
I have.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, everybody knows this film. Number 32, another black and white film, Dr. Strangelove, and how I learned to stop worrying and love the bomb. That's the whole title. This one's a Stanley Kubrick film. Who we talked about in the last episode, ended off with The Shining on my list. This is a black and white film set during World War II, and it's a comedy starring Peter Sellers. He plays like 5 roles in this movie, and it's absolutely kills it, and it's hilarious. Check it. I know it's black and white, so you may not be down for it, but it's absolutely he's got a killer performance, and some of the stuff in this movie is just it's amazing. Oh, and there's a little cameo by James Earl Jones at the end.
Really?
Yeah. So that's always been one of my favorites. Which who knows? Maybe it'll be on a future episode. We never know.
Keep your ears peeled for all these great selections.
Yes. And number 31, another comedy, Blues Brothers. Saw this when I was a kid for the first time and have been a fan ever since. Actually, when I was a kid, my dad had Blues Brothers on vinyl. I listened to that thing all the time. And when my dad decided to give away his vinyl to me and my sister and I, he said, all right, each one of you is going to pick back and forth. So I was like, all right. And of course, there are 5 or 6 of them that I want, but I only get one to start with.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do I pick? Blues Brothers was not the first one. And then, I don't even know if it was going to be the second one, but my sister got it before I did. Pissed me off. Like, God damn it. You don't even like it. But at the time, her husband is helping her pick. And he was into collecting vinyl, and so they got it. Well, they divorced.
And he took it?
He took it.
Son of a bitch.
I know it.
If you're listening, we're going to find you.
I'm sure he's not.
We're going to get that goddamn album back.
Well, there's good news to this story, because as much as I wanted to break in his house and steal it, I didn't. I ended up finding it for like $5 at a store So I snagged it up. So I have it now in my possession.
When God closes a door, he opens a window.
I'm very happy about that. Which brings us to my number 30, another comedy, Step Brothers.
Oh, I got that on the list as well.
All right. Well, we won't talk much about it, but I cannot not laugh at every scene in this movie.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant. One of Will Ferrell's best, which is saying something.
Yes. Moving on to your number.
Want to do commercials?
Okay, we'll do commercials.
All right. You can find me at indiebradscott.com, along with Facebook, comedian Brad Scott. Click like, Instagram and Twitter at indiebradscott, and that's INDY Brad Scott. You can find the show on Twitter at The Showdown Pod. We also have a YouTube channel with episodes available, and of course we're on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever streaming service you're using. Spreaker right now. And Corey, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd at NKOGonzo. Same on all platforms. You can also something else I wanted to mention too is, in case you don't know, I actually have a film production company, and I'm teaming up with Jazzy Dog Productions, and we're trying to raise money to do a horror film. What it is it's going to be 3 short horror films, and we're going to combine them together like an anthology to make one feature-length film. And if you go to our Twitter page, and I've tweeted out the link, and I'll do it again too every so often. But if you follow us on Twitter, you can even follow my production company at Wiseman, Wizemen Films. You'll get the link on there too. I tried to find out the actual link, and it's just GoFundMe.com/ a bunch of different letters. So it's easier to do it that way. So please take a look at it. We do have some prizes depending on how much you donate, and we promise not to let you down.
And you can also find our fallen comrade Vic at Black and Angry on PlayStation.
No, he's on 360.
360.
Yeah,
and
he would be so mad. He hates PlayStation.
And he's on Twitter at MillerKing51.
Yes.
And and as of right now, he's just at home in bed as he's lazy like they are. Referring, of course, to video game store associates.
Yes, yes.
But we miss you, Vic. We'll see you. Get well soon. We're gonna start. We've pooled our money together to help with like your medical expenses. So whenever you can stop by and pick up the $6, let us know. We'll keep it here for you.
And that was from Samuel outside, the guy that hangs outside Brad's apartment.
Indeed. All right, let's get back to the show. And I believe I'm on 39.
Yep.
So 39 is Rounders, and Matt Damon, Edward Norton, John Malkovich, John Turturro, again, making another appearance.
You want to make love to John Turturro.
Who says I haven't already?
Very true.
Great movie, poker movie. It caused between that and Chris Moneymaker, caused a huge poker boom, and just awesome movie. I mean, really, there's not much wrong with it. You can't really nitpick anything that's wrong with it. Some of the poker playing, I'm sure, you could nitpick a little bit, but overall, and obviously the worst tell in the world with the Oreos, the dumbest.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest, but who cares? Like, this dude's made this empire, and nobody ever thought to go, what direction is he twisting those Oreos, and what's he doing with them? Yeah. But anyways, great movie. My number 38, Kill Bill, Volume 1.
Yep, that's in mine as well, too.
So we'll talk about it later, but it is just awesome movie. Number 37, probably most people haven't heard of or seen, With Honors.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Stars Joe Pesci, Brendan Fraser, Winona Ryder, and somebody else. Patrick Duffy, I think is his name.
McDreamy?
No, Patrick Dempsey. Is that McDreamy?
Yeah, that's McDreamy.
Patrick Dempsey? Yeah, early role for him. And
Loverboy.
Joe Pesci plays a bum who's living in the boiler room of the Harvard Library. Brendan Fraser drops his thesis down there. They get into an argument about it, and Joe Pesci ends up being arrested and still has Brendan Fraser's thesis. And they end up working out an exchange where Joe Pesci wants food, clothing, shelter, and Brendan Fraser provides that and then gets pages of his thesis. They all grow through the movie. I mean, it's a strange pick for me, but it's a good movie. And it'll tug at the feels.
I'll say this: I came home one night and it was on TV.
Mm-hmm. It used to be on TNT and TBS a lot. This was
just recently, and it was at a part where Pesci he had some really long speech that he was giving
in the Harvard classroom.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a good scene.
See, I came in right in the middle of it, so I don't know what the setup was, but I actually stopped and watched it. I was like, damn.
Dude, it's good. It's good acting all around.
Yeah, so that's one I've added to my mental list.
I'm very much a sports guy. Unfortunately, I think I wouldn't be classified as a douchebag, but I could at times be looked at as a bro type of guy. But acting's the one thing I really can appreciate artistically and creatively that's not just making fun of things. And that movie has a shit ton of good acting. Brings me to number 36, speaking of great acting. Old school.
Yep.
Will Ferrell, Luke Wilson, Vince Vaughn, a cascade of amazing comedic talent in supporting roles. Snoop Dogg, Bishop Don Magic Wand, if we're going to credit people that are just on there for 30 seconds. But just a hilarious movie. Frank the Tank. It's been, you know the movie. It's awesome. And I think it was, what year did that come out? Like 2004? 2003. Yeah, so I was right out of college, and I was still heavily into drinking and parties and house parties, and was still single and childless. So that was like my Porky's in a way, or one of those. I would
have think you would have been in high school.
2003.
No, if that was your Porky's.
Oh, well, okay. It's whatever movie people identify with their drinking.
I get what you're saying.
Number 35, Borat.
My wife.
And it's at a point now where, like, the Borat character has been oversaturated, like, because everybody does parodies, and there's all types of people that dress up like that, and everybody does that my wife and that voice. But when that came, I was so excited for that movie because I loved the Ali G show on HBO. I used to watch it on demand. They used to have both seasons, and I thought it was the funniest thing. I was like, this is like the new Tom Green.
Yeah.
He's, that's the one where he is Borat and he goes to the vineyard with the two old white guys and the black guy that's pouring the wine, and he's like, he is your slave. And the guy's like, oh, no. Oh, he is his slave. No, we're not allowed to do that anymore. He's like, oh, good for him, not for you, and like, it's just the way he exposed those sides of people without them realizing it and bought into. The movie was perfect. I thought everything about the movie was perfect.
What about Bruno?
I liked it, but it was. I mean,
it wasn't Borat.
I also liked the character of Borat way more than I liked the character of Bruno on the show.
Yeah,
and I thought. There's still some really good parts in Bruno with the baby.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, my God.
That was really good when he goes on the talk show or whatever. Like, they had some really funny scenes. But Borat, just the entire movie from start. And people knew who Sacha Baron Cohen was in Bruno. So
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, because who did they end up really fooling in Bruno? Somebody. Where he, was the table. They brought out the person.
Oh, it was... Well, they had Paula Abdul. They brought in
Paula Abdul. It's Paula Abdul who really got fooled and everything else. But Borat,
Latoya Jackson too.
But Borat, everybody was. People didn't even know that character really, unless you had watched the Ali G show until that movie came out. And if you have watched the Ali G show, it's just one of those movies that, as soon as you find out they're making it, you're following every step of the way, and you're excited to go see it. I went and saw it in the theaters probably 5 times.
Wow.
My number 34, right? Is Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
The Better Desperado movie.
The Better Desperado?
I love that movie. Johnny Depp as the blind guy who has all the false hands and stuff. Yeah. That was so cool. And, I just remember when I watched it, it's just a fun movie.
Yeah. I dug it, too. That's another one I saw in the theaters.
Number 33, Grandma's Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious. Nick Swartzen with his race car bed and his roommates, and just everything about that movie.
That movie.
Perfect stoner movie. It's a movie you can watch at any point in time, and if you have a little bit of weed, you're going to laugh through the whole thing.
You don't even need the weed.
You don't, but it helps. It's designed for that. Number 32. One of my favorite horror films of all time. It defeated Halloween in our Halloween episode. Stephen King's It, Part 1 and 3/4 of Part 2. Made an entire generation afraid of clowns. We've talked about this movie. It is a champion on the showdown. I want to remind you, Stephen King's It beat Halloween. Corey didn't even talk about the giant spider. How did he not talk about that? Oh, he'd been drinking.
Yep.
He'd been drinking.
Yep.
So, champion, Stephen King's It is my number 32. My number 31, another horror movie, Tusk.
That one didn't make my list.
It is a Kevin Smith movie. Stars Justin Long and that old white guy who was in Red State.
Michael
Parks. And he, spoiler alert, he turns Justin Long into a human walrus. Because he's sick and demented and twisted, and that's what he does is he's just like a mad scientist. It's like the human walrus instead of the human centipede.
Centipede.
I was centipede from the South Park episode. It always confuses me. But it's a great, freaky... You want to talk about original movies? That's original. All right? A guy turning a guy into a walrus, and it started off as a podcast.
Yeah, Kevin really went out on a limb with this one just because it was so out there, and for a mainstream director like him to do something like that, it's really unheard of.
No, but should be applauded, and should be, that's the thing. People kind of snubbed. It's like, that. How much more originality do you want? And it's creepy, and it's kind of scary. Like, I remember I felt uneasy after I saw it, and I had to do stand-up comedy that night in North Carolina. So it was. I just remember. We're going to talk about this later with another selection of mine, but it's just one of those movies that when it's over, you just don't feel right.
You just want to go take a shower and wash the dirt off of you.
Curl up in the fetal position, start crying. My number 30, Rocky 2.
At some point, we're going to get rid of all the Rockies.
Oh, what more needs to be said? It's the rematch, the biggest rematch of all time. Apollo Creed versus Rocky Balboa. Rocky is fighting because he can't find anything else to do. He tries to do commercials, but he just doesn't have the enunciation and the language. Smell this stuff. You want to use this stuff. And
buy a car.
His vision is in bad shape, but he has to do it, and he gets they need the money, and Adrian goes into a coma while she's pregnant shortly before, and then has the baby, and the iconic she pulls him in close. I want you to do something for me. What do you want me to do? Win.
Kill that motherfucker.
That would have been a little better, but he's like, I got this Russian that'll do it in 2 movies. But a great movie, one of the best. I think one of the times that you can say the sequel is just as good, slightly worse than the original. It held up. It really did. Like most of the time, sequels are awful and seem forced. This seemed like a good, natural sequel, a rematch. It made sense, and the way they did it seemed very organic. With Rocky not wanting to do it, wanting to move on, he had his 15 minutes of fame, and Apollo baiting him into the rematch. It was well done. But let's head on to your number 29.
Okay, hold on here. I wasn't prepared. My number 29 is another comedy, and I wish you would watch this. Black Dynamite.
All right.
You've got to see it. Hell, I'll let you borrow my copy. This movie is hilarious, starring Michael Jai White as Black Dynamite. It's basically, I don't want to say it's a spoof of blaxploitation films,
but it's a spoof of black.
But it's not really, because it was made. What year is that? In 2009. But everything makes it look like the 70s. The cars, the clothes, the houses, everything. Everything is set up like the 70s. And they try and recreate the entire thing as if it was made in the 70s. Tommy Davidson's got a part in it. Cedric Yarborough from Reno 911.
Oh, yeah.
He's in it. I'm trying to remember. There's... Cedric Yarborough plays a pimp. They have a pimp meeting where all these pimps get together in a meeting to talk about Black Dynamite because Black Dynamite is ruining the city because they can't sell their drugs. Cedric Yarborough, how does he say it? How am I gonna make my money if I can't sell my drugs? And one of the other pimps, Captain Kangaroo. It's Captain Kangaroo.
The actual Captain Kangaroo?
No. He's dead.
Oh.
But he's dressed up as Captain Kangaroo. I think his name in the credits is Captain Kangaroo Pimp. Something like that. But this movie is just downright hilarious. They even do stuff that you would see in the blaxploitation films that were never cut out, like the boom mics.
Oh,
when
nice.
they come down in the frame, that happens a few times. And at one point, Black Dynamite comes down in a frame. I think it hits him in the head. He looks up at it, looks at the camera, like, what the fuck are you doing? This movie is downright hilarious. Number 29, Black Dynamite. Number 28, we just had this on the show a couple of episodes ago. Night of the Living Dead. I've pretty much already talked that one to death. I'm not going to go into more of that. Number 27, it's another Alfred Hitchcock film. This one probably not seen by a lot of people, and it's not even one of his most famous ones. Rope. This is about a movie. This is a movie that's set in one location, and this part is up for debate. There's no cuts in the entire film. It's all one take. Now, like I said, there's a couple spots that maybe they made a cut because somebody walked by the camera, and that's when they made the cut. But nobody has really confirmed it or not. What it is there's a trunk in the middle of this room, and there's a party going on, and there's a dead body in the trunk, and so it all. The people that know about the trunk, they are trying to get rid of it, but this party happens, and so they spend the entire movie trying to worry about this. The whole film is suspenseful, and it's a great film, and I need to watch it again because it's been so long since I've seen it, but it definitely is. It's an amazing film. Number 26, we go back to the 80s. Clue. Yeah, starring Michael McKean and Martin Mull's in it. There's so many iconic people from the 80s that are in this film. Who would have thought you could take a kid's board game and make it into a movie? And unfortunately, about 25 years later, they decided to do that with Battleship. But that's
I was getting ready to say something about that, but I got so caught up with how good of a film that was.
Yeah, that was horrible. But Clue, amazing film. It even has 3 endings. So I love that film. Loved it as a kid. And that's another one of those movies that's got an ensemble cast.
Yeah. So, you are a fan of the ensemble.
I am. Number 25, Django Unchained. Jamie Foxx, Christoph Waltz, Leonardo DiCaprio. I think everybody by now has seen this movie. So, but... this is another one. I see all Tarantino's films in the theaters, so obviously this is another one that I saw, and it was awesome. I just loved it. So number 24. This is one that got a lot of shit after I saw it. After I watched it, I was looking online and I was reading people's thoughts on it. It gets a lot of shit, and I'm really surprised. It's called Parkland. What it is, it takes place in Texas at the time of the JFK assassination. However, it's seen through the eyes of the people that worked at the hospital, the FBI agents, everybody else. The guy that took the infamous footage of JFK being shot. You see it through all of their perspectives, and at one point, and I cannot believe this, but Zac Efron plays a doctor, who tries to revive JFK at the hospital. And he can't do it. He kills it. That was a hell of a performance.
Zac Efron's a good actor.
I was really surprised by that.
He was good in Neighbors.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, I guess. But in this is one of the few films that has made me cry. Now, I've always thought...
Pussy.
I know. But here's the funny thing about that. Let me tell you. When a celebrity dies, a lot of people get emotional. And they cry. I'm like, you didn't even know the person. That's just somebody you didn't know. Especially after seeing footage of JFK, and seeing the people crying and whatnot. And now, obviously, I wasn't around when that happened. But seeing people's reactions, I'm like, why you didn't know him personally? So I couldn't grasp that. But then I'm crying like a baby during this movie. I'm like, good Lord, what the hell? But yeah, this was one, I was like, if you can make me cry this much during a movie, you're definitely going in my top 100. I mean, it's just...
In your top 50. Top 30.
Yeah, it's my top 30. Number 23. My favorite number. This one is another black and white film. It's from 1957, 12 Angry Men.
Ah, yeah.
This movie is amazing. I mean, to be set, it's actually in two locations because you had the courtroom at the beginning, but then you had the one room where all these people are just arguing the rest of the movie about whether this kid is guilty or innocent. It's awesome. Just you gotta sit there and watch. Everybody gives a killer performance in it. Definitely, you have to check that out. Number 22, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? With your boyfriend John Turturro and George Clooney. And if you haven't seen this one's a Coen Brothers film set in the, I want to say it's the 30s, around there, 30s or 40s maybe. Have you seen it?
What is it?
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
No.
Okay. They are...
It seemed boring.
Oh, it's not. This is another one you gotta check. It's not boring. They escape from a prison, and they're trying to get out, but the cops are after them. So they're
I don't know. It's hard for me to really get into any movie nowadays that's not at a time period where there's cell phones.
Well, yeah,
it just feels ancient to me.
The funny thing about this movie is it's very much based on the book The Odyssey.
Okay.
Homer's Odyssey. It's because at some point there's these sirens that show up. These three chicks show up and basically just mesmerize the three of them, and they're caught in her gaze. And that's straight out of the Odyssey. There's a lot of other things that happen too that mirror that book, but I love this movie, especially, and the soundtrack is great too. And I don't even like that type of music, so that's saying a lot. So, moving on to my number 21, Brandon Lee, The Crow.
A.K.A. every guy's Halloween costume for about 10 years.
Yeah, I love this movie the first time I saw it, every time I see it afterwards. I'm not sure how much it holds up now. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I'm not sure if a lot of it holds up. But yeah, I mean, this has spawned, I think, like 4 sequels. 4 or 5, and they're now remaking it. So, but this one's the best one, and it's unfortunate what happened. In case you don't know, yeah,
he had to die.
Yeah, and if you don't know, Brandon Lee was killed during the filming of this. So it's unfortunate that happened. But even still, I mean, him dying at a young age, just like his dad. There's all these conspiracies about that. So. But yeah. Number 20, another George Clooney film, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Ah.
Yes, another Robert Rodriguez film, another one with Tarantino in it. Obviously, this spawned a TV show that's on the El Rey network, which I haven't seen yet. It's on Netflix too, which I'm going to eventually watch. But yeah, this movie is just awesome. I mean, it's all calm. There's a calm for the first half of the movie, and then it's a storm at the end.
Yeah, shit just goes.
Yeah.
Into the fan.
Yes, it does. And that movie's just awesome. There's some killer lines in it, too. And so on to your number 29.
My number 29 is See No Evil, Hear No Evil. Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. Richard Pryor is blind. Gene Wilder is deaf. Gene Wilder sees the legs of a shooter, and Richard Pryor hears the gunshot. And they basically are on the run from Kevin Spacey and his beautiful associate for the rest of the film.
Is it Kevin Spacey?
Yes, it is. He plays the bad guy. But it's a hilarious movie. It's funny. It's just... those two are probably... To me, they're probably one of the greatest comedic duos of all time.
I think we talked about that on the last episode.
Oh, for Stir Crazy. Yeah, they're two of the best. Number 28, Ted. Oh my God, Seth MacFarlane's. It was his first feature film, right?
Yeah.
And it's about a talking bear. A kid makes a wish for his bear to be his best friend and be alive. The bear comes alive, becomes a celebrity, and then basically the movie picks up where they're adults, and he's just a pot-smoking, drinking bear. Mark Wahlberg is the adult version of the kid, and Mila Kunis, who is, as we all know, the hottest female in the world. The movie has everything. It's hilarious. It was, again, you can't tell me there's no originality in Hollywood anymore when they have a movie like this.
The thing that kills me about that is nobody questions the fact that that's Teddy Bear Talks.
No, he becomes the first montage. He goes on Carson. He becomes a huge celebrity.
That's what I'm saying.
They do question it.
But then they're like, okay, then they just live with it. I don't know.
That's how it would be, honestly, nowadays. You realize that. But here's the thing. Nowadays, he wouldn't even have years of fame. It'd be like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then people go, oh my God, are we still talking about that fucking talking bear? Like, Jesus Christ, fucking who cares? Okay? It's fucking bear talks, it's alive, whatever. Who fucking cares? Why don't we put more resources into the homeless? Why don't we get to the like, that's what would happen. So, it's plausible.
Yeah.
And again, your last movie was about vampires.
Well, yeah.
It's a movie. Number 27 is another Mark Wahlberg movie, The Other Guys. Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell. I think this movie is so underrated. I think because it's just so fun. I want to be a peacock.
I want to fly.
I want to fly.
I want
Michael Keaton is hilarious. The boss that keeps dropping TLC references without supposedly realizing it. Hey, boy, don't go chasing those waterfalls.
Yeah, you know what? The first time I saw this, I didn't really... I was like, whatever. But the more I've watched it...
You get it.
It's funny.
It's one of those things. Yeah. It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
You have to get... Once you watch it the first time and get the humor, when it may take you a decent amount of the movie to kind of pick up on and get, it gets better. It just gets so... And you pick up on things you didn't notice before. It has The Rock. It has Samuel L. Jackson.
For 5 minutes.
Yeah, but it's great. It's the whole thing. Oh, it's just so funny. And my number 26 is another comedy, which I believe is another...
if you can hear the sirens...
My Ride is here.
We're at Brad's house this time.
My apartment.
And, yeah.
But that's not inside the apartment. We are also next to one of the biggest intersections in this area, where there's a mall across the street. So it's kind of busy.
Make excuses.
It used to be dangerous.
Is my car okay out there?
No, it used to be really dangerous. Then they jacked the rent up $200 a month and kicked everybody with a felony out. So it's a lot safer and a lot nicer now. And so number 26, again, I believe this is a defending champion, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Yeah. Jason Segel, my buddy. Russell Brand, hilarious. Again, Mila Kunis. Just... absolutely great movie.
Is all her movies in your top 10? Or in your top...
Probably 50? Most. Again, she's just amazing. Why wouldn't it be? And my number 25 is The Hunger Games, or as I call it, Better Royale.
Better Royale?
The Hunger Games, Jennifer Lawrence, the original.
Really?
It's such a good movie. I remember when that came out, it was just like... Wait, this movie's about what? There's going to be children killing each other on an island, and only one comes out alive, and then people watch it and bet. Fascinating. And then I went and saw it, and it lived up.
The book was better.
Oh my god. I should put an arrow through your head right now. Like you would be, if we had the Hunger Games of the showdown, you're the first one I'm going to kill. I love that movie. I can still watch it, and I mean the sequels I haven't gotten that much into. I think I only saw the first sequel. But the original, I just thought it was so good. I thought it was dark. It's just one of those movies that when you watch for the first time, it's just like, felt like a new experience.
I just recently watched the latest one. And if you go to letterboxd.com/NKOgonzo, you can see my review on that. I actually did not like it.
Oh, surprise.
Yeah, no, and it's not because of that. I actually liked the first one.
I bet that review is so fucking douchey and pompous. I guarantee. With probably some bullshit references to the Japanese film that we're much about.
Nope, I don't reference
the book.
I just felt the last one was kind of pointless.
Well, but the first one. That's what's on my list.
I know. That's what's on your list.
And number 25, and I think this is I mean, it speaks for itself. Dumb and Dumber. Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels, the original.
Thank you for stating the original.
It was. I actually liked this. I didn't mind the sequel. I didn't mind it. Not the one with the kids. The one that just came out.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I know it wasn't great, but what were you expecting? And I hate it when people go, "It was just so stupid." Oh, the movie Dumb and Dumber is stupid. Here's the thing: the original was pretty stupid too, but you hadn't seen that. You know, you hadn't seen those guys in those characters, so it was fresh, and at the time, it was different. The sequel stayed true to the original, I thought.
Yeah,
and
it was all the same jokes, though.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of the same jokes. A lot of them were really parallel.
What joke was the same?
I watched it last year.
You're just throwing out cliche arguments.
No, I remember you guys said this at the time.
I mean, it's the same style, but that's the spirit of the movie. That's what made the original great.
Here's the thing. I was in Colorado when I saw this, and I still didn't like it. Reference back to our earlier discussion on Colorado.
That's just because you're cynical.
No, I did not like it. I thought it was dumb. But the original, yes, I do like, but not enough to put my top one under.
All right. Well, my number 24 is Blow.
Okay.
Your Girl, right? Is that Salma Hayek?
Yes.
She's in it?
Yes, she is.
Johnny Depp. A good movie.
Paul Rubens as well, too.
Yep. It was kind of like his comeback.
Yep.
Like the start of like people accepting him from and like forgiving him for jerking off in a porno theater. Come on, the dude was Pee Wee Herman. Like I doubt he was having like at that point trails of ass just following him around.
It was a porn theater.
Yeah, like what do you think people are doing?
What were you doing in there? What were you doing in there?
What the fuck are you doing in here not jerking off? That's what I would have said to the cop.
Yeah.
I mean, like, get your dick out. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it didn't make
You're in
sense.
here. Why are you in here?
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, Blow is a good movie. It's.
I found that on DVD somewhere. I want to say like a TJ Maxx or something, one of those type of stores, Marshalls, and I bought it, and it's like a French/English version. Mm-hmm. So like on the binding, it says Blow, but then it says something else in French on the binding.
Do you remember when the DVD came out and it was a white case?
Yeah.
I remember, and like they were all black before that. You were, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You had to have it just that. And then I remember the DVD disc also it had like a line of cocaine.
Oh, does
so
it?
it just looked like somebody put a line of cocaine on a CD.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty. But yeah, good movie. Number 21, right?
I think so.
No, 22.
Okay.
Is Tim Burton's Batman. The original Batman movie feature film outside of the Adam West, Burt Ward one. Jack Nicholson played the Joker. Michael Keaton was a great Batman and a perfect Bruce Wayne. Kim Basinger was in it. Arliss was in it.
Yes.
You had a great soundtrack by Prince. I mean, just the whole movie was...
The Bat Dance.
The whole movie was great. Where does he get those wonderful toys? It's just a good line.
Did you have Batman Returns on?
I did, yeah.
Did you have all of them on there?
No.
Which one?
just Batman Returns of Batman, and maybe another one comes up later. I don't know. Why don't you stop spoiling?
No, I'm asking a question because I think on the last episode I mentioned CinemaSins, a YouTube channel that they watch a movie and then they make jokes about things that happen in the movie and just like they sin it, saying, you know, he didn't hear that, but they make jokes about it. They try and make it funny. One of the Batman films is the newest one, is the latest one, the one with Jim Carrey. So
that's Batman Forever. That's the third.
So yeah, that's the latest episode. And I just watched that on Friday, and it's pretty funny. So
shout out to them.
Yeah, CinemaSins.
Number 21. It's one of my daughter's favorite movies too. Jaws. We're gonna go probably watch it on the lawn this summer. They're doing those. Have you seen that? They're doing this new concert series in Indianapolis at, I think, White River. I think it was somewhere around there. But they're gonna have them on a projector, outdoor movies.
Yeah, they've been doing it for a while.
But like this year, they're really advertising it, and they got great movies. Vacation. One of the Vacation movies is on.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the Christmas Vacation movie.
Really?
No. Elf is Christmas in July. But I know maybe National Lampoon's. What was the first one? Just Vacation.
It's just Vacation.
I think that's one of them. But Jaws is there. Made people afraid to go in the water. It's the best ocean killing creature movie of all time. You know,
yeah.
Orca, Piranha, all those movies, Sharknado, all of them pale in comparison to Jaws. Any movie that's about any monster from the sea is going to be compared to Jaws, and Jaws was just simply the best. And you can still watch it now. It still holds up. I went and watched it last summer at that theater up north that does just like old movies every weekend. And just watching that thing on the big screen is the first time I've ever done that. Was just really cool. And it's still to this day, there's still parts where I know are coming and I kind of jump because you can get lost in that movie. Yeah. It's Steven Spielberg's breakthrough, film. It was cursed from the beginning, and then it ended up becoming one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, I haven't watched that. Actually, I don't remember when the last time I watched it was.
I watch it every summer generally. Number 20 on my list, another Steven Spielberg movie, Jurassic Park. What? You kidding me? By the way, dinosaurs are in that movie for what? 13 minutes is what we found out? 15 minutes, something like that? And it's almost a 2-hour movie, and the whole movie is remembered for dinosaurs. That's how good that movie was.
Yeah, but not good enough to win on the showdown.
Oh, yeah. Well, you were cheating. You had Star Wars. But, has Jeff Goldblum in it. We've talked about it at length. So, Jurassic Park, just great movie. All right, what's your number 19, buddy?
All right, my number 19 is another one of the movies like I mentioned earlier with Amityville Horror, where you could keep doing sequels and you could still change it and it could still be good. It's The Omen. I mean, at the beginning when she's yelling Damien, it sends chills through your head.
Ruin that name.
Yeah.
It's like Hitler. Can't name a kid Damien.
No, you can't. And it's just... That movie is so creepy, and I have a tendency to lean more towards that being creepy as a scary movie than I do something like Friday the 13th or Halloween.
Where it's impossible. Well,
because I mean, sure, yeah, you could have slashers and have these serial killers, but something supernatural like that
when it's a kid, makes it creepy.
Oh yeah, it's just creepy as hell. And one cool ass death scene is the big pane of glass that falls on the dude. It's just, it's just great horror film. And surprisingly, I think that's my number 2. Yeah, it is. It's my number 2 favorite horror film, which obviously we'll get to number 1 later. Number 18, Dazed and Confused.
A showdown loser.
Yeah, showdown loser. I was waiting for it. We've talked about this previously, but again, I watched this several times in high school on one weekend, like 4 or 5 times. Just get done with it, rewind it, watch it again. And
I did the same thing in my garage. My first year out of high school, my summer after that. That's what we did all summer. We'd watch that movie during the day, and then we'd go to some house party like every night of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, don't you miss those days? When you could just do shit like that, you could just predict, because like you weren't like we had jobs and stuff, but like during the day, you just had
sit
nothing
there
to do.
and do
drink,
and do jack
smoke
shit.
weed. Oh my god, those were the days. And then you have kids and fucking life.
Yeah.
If you hear a gunshot in the future, that's me checking out.
Number 17. This is one we just mentioned. It's a previous showdown winner. Star Wars. Again, we've talked about it before, so I'm not going to go into that one. Number 16. It's another comedy. Major League. This is one
Good
where
movie.
This is one where in high school we watched it all the time. So much so that we had all the baseball scenes memorized, all the dialogue. And I actually was watching it on Comedy Central. I know not the best place to watch a movie with a bunch of cussing in it, but just recently watched it, and I still knew all the lines. So you know that's
it holds up.
Oh yeah,
it holds up.
It's love it. Number 15 is my number one favorite horror film of all time, and yes, a showdown loser. It's Halloween. Yeah, so like I said, we've talked about this one before, so I'm not going to go into detail.
Michael Myers can't beat that clown.
Nope. Number 14. This is one that I thought about picking with the zombie episode, but I didn't do it. Shaun of the Dead.
Ah, the zombie spoof.
Yes, it's not really a spoof though. It's a comedy horror or horror comedy.
And aren't most horrors have a little bit of comedy?
They have a few jokes, but this one there's a lot of jokes, and it starts Edgar Wright's trilogy with Hot Fuzz and End of the World or World's End, and I've loved this ever since the first time I saw it. I mean, it's just absolutely funny, and if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, go see it. Very funny take on zombie apocalypse. Number 13. This, I'm surprised. I know you and I have talked before about this one, and I'm really surprised that you don't like it. It's Scarface. I
mean, I don't. It's not that I don't like it. I just think it's a little overrated, and I think it's to me, out of the gangster movies, it's not even in my top 100.
It used to be higher up on my list before I went and redid it about a year or so ago. But I mean, it's a guy comes to America with nothing, and it's his rise to power, and then his crushing defeat. I mean, that you don't really see that in a lot of films, and this movie is just, not to mention all the killer lines that are in it too. But
I mean, it's iconic, no doubt.
Yeah, and I actually stayed at the hotel on my honeymoon that some of this was shot in.
Really?
Yeah. So that was.
Did you do a bunch of blow?
Yes, I did a bunch of blow. No, but there was a chainsaw involved at one point. But I can't talk about that. Statute of limitation may still be intact. But no, the scene, the nightclub, the club scene that they go to at one point. They do that a couple times, but in one of the club scenes, I actually went to that club because it was in the hotel. It was in the first floor of the hotel we were staying in Miami. So that was
maybe the
fun.
best city on earth.
Maybe one of the greatest football teams ever.
Greatest basketball teams.
I wouldn't go that far. Number 12, one that you talked about earlier that's on your list. Kill Bill Volume 1.
Oh, such a good movie.
I like the second one too, but the first one really stood out for me.
You hadn't seen anything like that at that time.
Yeah, I mean, he mixes...
as far as in America with mainstream.
Right.
Obviously, it's a genre, but man, just the deaths in that movie.
The fight scene with the Crazy 88 was, I mean, how can you not be like, oh shit?
And the one thing I don't like about that movie is you had to hear that one song for. Oh my! That Vonage commercial. Vonage, do you not realize where that song is from?
Maybe not. But yeah, I love that movie. Still don't own it though. I'm still waiting for them to put that together with Volume 2 on one disc, so I don't have to buy them separately, and just make it all one movie instead of making it two. I'm waiting for them to do it, so I'm holding out. It's the only Tarantino movie I don't own. Number 11, American Psycho, Christian Bale.
I love that movie.
Oh my god, this movie is so awesome, and it's funny.
It's hilarious.
It is. I mean, some people might not get the humor, get that it's supposed to be
dark.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very. I remember when I went and watched it in high school in a theater. It was me, my friend Keith, my friend Matt. My friend Matt was very innocent. Like, this dude, he's a good person, and good. What they call good God-fearing man or whatever. Real wholesome guy. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do anything, and we went. The three of us went and watched it, and me and Keith were just dying laughing, and he's like covering his eyes, and he's like, oh, dear God. Like, so.
There's so much humor in this. I love it.
And the soundtrack's amazing, too.
Yeah. Huey Lewis News.
Oh, when he's dancing with the axe?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Such a good, so many good iconic scenes.
Yes, I love it. Let's go with you, and then we can do our top 10s all at once.
Oh, okay.
Or just make it so it's not top 9.
So my number 19 is Ghostbusters.
Who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Number 18, Go.
All right, fine. I got to pack up all this stuff, though.
That was well played. That was good.
Thank you.
Go is, I think, a very underrated movie. Katie Holmes, pre-Scientology. What's his name?
Yeah, but it's no Kitty Holmes.
Scott Wolf, was that his name?
Yes.
From Party of Five or whatever? Him and Jay Moore playing the gay actors who are trying to do the drug sting. Like, it was a unique movie. I mean, it's the same story told from 3 different viewpoints, and they all intertwine and connect, and it was just it's another one of those movies, the first time you see it, you're just like, I haven't seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
And it's just entertaining through the whole way through. There's no...
That came out in like 99.
Around there, yeah. And another good soundtrack.
I think that's one I saw in my honeymoon.
My number 18, right? No, 17. 17.
No, it'll be 18.
No, 19 was Ghostbusters.
Oh, Ghostbusters,
18 was
yeah.
Go.
You're right.
17, Star Wars, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I know. Vic's probably having a heart attack right now. Like, the foot is probably...
We're going to start a GoFundMe for Vic and a heart attack.
Here's the thing. Like, I know everybody hates that movie. I thought it was great. I mean, I remember my girlfriend... It came out either on my birthday or right around my birthday. My girlfriend went with me as like a birthday gift to me because she had no interest in seeing it. And we left the movie, and she was like, holy shit, I've never, ever had any interest. I've always been bored watching those kind of movies, but I like that movie. It's a love story that's based, and it's so iconic because you know what's going to happen, and you know it's going to be tragic, and you know it's going to be bad, but they get you invested in the movie. Like, I've actually changed a couple people's opinions on it as well. Some pretty hardcore Star Wars fans, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, it's... I
can't do anything with that original.
Good action, good acting. You have Natalie Portman, which is always a bonus.
You have Hayden Christensen, which is not a bonus.
What's wrong with him? Why does everybody hate him? Why? Why did he suck?
He's worse than the kid in episode 1.
But nobody can give me a reason as to why
he's whiny and annoying. He's emo. Very emo and very annoying.
Okay, but so Anakin, kind of from when how old is he in the first one? Like 7, 8?
Somewhere around there.
Since that point in time, he keeps getting told he's the chosen one, right? And that he's a prodigy, right?
Okay.
So let's look in life at people that at a young age are told how great they're going to be and how great they are. We have like a Justin Bieber, LeBron James. Well, don't most people consider them when they get to be a little older and they start to realize their potential and things? Don't most people call them whiny? And don't they call them...
I've never called either one of those people whiny.
But a lot of people do. I think he played the part of a kid who had been told since he was a child that he was great and the chosen one to save the universe. I thought he played it like that would corrupt anybody a little bit. And I thought the way they showed his decision making as far as turning to the dark side and everything else, I thought he was great. That scene when he's going to murder all the Jedis in the temple and starts with like the kids and everything else, I thought he was great in that. He came across as pretty dark to me. He came across as a fucking stone cold killer, just going in there and just cutting motherfuckers' heads off and stuff.
But they didn't show that.
Well, it's still Star Wars.
I know. I'm interested to see, since we're talking about it, Episode 7.
Oh, of course.
This trailer, I had to watch it like 4 times.
The new one?
Yeah. I was like, oh, I gotta watch it again. And that opening scene where you see the ships crashed in the sand, it's like, oh my god, that is awesome. I love it. I cannot wait for it.
It's going to break all types of records, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Number 16. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Seen it once.
Again, it's an original movie.
Yeah.
And I thought it had really good acting all around. Elijah Wood was really good in it. He plays the guy who does the brain stuff. Like he's dating Kristen Dunst.
Okay.
And
it's been a while since
he's not dating Kristen Dunst. He's dating what's her name? The Jim Carrey's girlfriend.
I don't remember.
But anyways, great movie, original. Jim Carrey. I always thought he was a really good. I thought he was an underrated dramatic actor. I think I like the number 23. I know a lot of people don't like it.
I was going to say, what about
I like that movie. And I think Jim Carrey's a good actor. I actually prefer him now more as a dramatic actor than I do him going at comedy.
Yeah,
I think because sometimes comedy doesn't age well. No matter how funny somebody is when they're younger. I have that fear all the time because it's tough to get older and still be funny. Because you get so cynical and pessimistic about the world and you're just like, what's the fucking point? And that's kind of what I think Jim Carrey's gotten to. And I think if he did more dramatic roles, he could revive himself. And he didn't do really a good job when he did Kick-Ass and then kind of went out against the film as it opened. That was
that was a dick move.
Yeah. My number 15, Silver Linings Playbook. Another Jennifer Lawrence movie. Bradley Cooper. I don't know why I like it so much, but I do. I think it's interesting.
Well, yeah.
Good acting. I mean, it's...
Considering our original idea for the show is to have to put our movies up against each other, I'm glad we got away from that because I didn't have to watch that again. Not that I thought it was a bad movie. Thought it was alright.
I thought it had a good mix of humor and it was interesting. A lot of times I don't get into those really long dramas like that, but that one kept my attention, and I thought it was. And I liked the sports undertones, So I thought it was a good movie. Number 14, right, is Garden State. Again, Natalie Portman. I like her. I think she's great.
Another movie I'm glad I didn't have to watch again.
Zach Braff. That was his first writing and directing. Did he direct that too?
I think so.
Yeah, it was his first his movie. And it's just a good movie. I mean, it's not...
Method Man is the best person in that movie.
He is great. And Peter Sarsgaard is really good in that movie too. He is awesome in everything, by the way. And that's the thing. Jim Parsons is in Garden State.
Really?
He's Peter Sarsgaard's mom's boyfriend that they went to high school with, who's also the knight. Remember when Zach Braff wakes up after the party at Sarsgaard's house and his mom's in the kitchen and everything else? Jim Parsons comes in the knight costume, and then he eats, and he's dating his mom.
I don't remember that, but...
Oh, good. He's good at it. It's a funny movie. But anyways, number 13... I know exactly what you're going to say.
Oh, boy.
It's Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Claire Danes.
And what do you think I'm going to say?
Oh, again, I'm so glad I didn't have to watch that movie.
No, you know what? I've seen that movie I don't know how many times.
It's a good movie, isn't it?
It's all right.
The dude that played Mercutio is a badass. That dude was perfect for that role. And he killed. That was... the fact that it was a modern day setting at the time, and it was, or even kind of a little futuristic, and also they kept the original verbatim Shakespearean dialogue,
right?
And for everybody in that movie to be able, because Jamie Kennedy has a small role in it, Paul Rudd has a small role in it. Paul Sorvino has a major role in it. Just the whole movie from top to bottom, it was just great acting, and I thought it was challenging acting as well. I thought that's a hard film to make and to sell, and I thought they did a hell of a job doing it. And Leonardo DiCaprio is a great actor, as much as people can hate on him. Like he's kind of had that revival later in his career with like The Departed and stuff, where he's kind of won over. But remember when he was thought of as like he's just a chick actor?
A chick?
Because that was like a chick movie when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like I didn't tell people. I was a huge fan of that when I was like in middle school when it was out or whatever. It was like me and a few of my friends were just like, "Oh fuck, you like that movie too?" It's like wrestling as an adult.
Yeah, I had just started dating my wife when that came out, and she really liked it, and so I've seen it. I don't know how many times we own it. The soundtracks I've heard so many freaking times.
Great soundtrack. Garbage has a great song on there.
Who was it? That Love Me song.
Oh, Loveful. Cardigans.
That's it.
Love me.
Yeah. So yeah.
That was the It's like the original.
Yeah.
My number 12 is, I guess this would be considered my favorite scary movie of all time, Cloverfield. The found footage monster movie where you barely see the monster.
Yeah.
But I thought that actually added more to it. I thought it made it more realistic. As people who were literally on the run from a monster in a city, you would try to avoid seeing it as much as possible. T.J. Miller's first, big break, and he's great in it. He's hilarious. And I thought that the fact that it wasn't a happy ending, I thought added to it. It had a dark feel. It was a dark monster movie, and we hadn't had one of those. I thought it was actually way better than the new Godzilla that came out a couple years ago.
I still haven't seen that one.
It's okay. I mean, it's a good Godzilla movie. It's one of the better Godzilla movies, probably. But I thought Cloverfield was much better, and I thought Cloverfield's idea of the monster attacks the city, and you see the fight against the monster was way better than the Godzilla of, we're going to kind of make it like you're there looking through viewpoint, like it's natural and it's realistic, but we're also going to put this other monster in.
We're going to talk about all these other characters that you're not there for.
Yeah, like kind of cheesy, but Cloverfield I thought was good. It kept it dark. It didn't feel like any of the characters were reaching. Like I thought they did a good job of making everything natural. And I know people that are like, well, how long the video camera battery lasted a long time. How do you know he didn't have more? There's parts where they cut scenes. You don't see. It's not a single shot through the whole thing. How do you know he didn't have a couple batteries when they went to that electronics store early on? Like that's what
It's probably unlikely, but he still could have.
I would think that. I think if you're that aware enough to want to make sure you document and take a camera, you're going to probably be aware enough to bring in some replacement batteries.
Well, to be honest, if you're freaking out as much, you're probably not going to think about, I should get some more batteries too.
And it's one of the last movies where they could legitimately use the tape over thing where they have, remember? Because that's like probably one of the last video cameras. It was probably those mini DVD tapes.
Yeah, where they rewound it.
Yeah. My number 11, before we crack the top 10, this one's just on the outskirts. Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Uh-huh. That's a movie that the first time I watched it, I liked it. I thought it was funny. But it wasn't until like the second and third and fourth and fifth. Every time I've watched it, I've liked it more and more. I find one little thing that I never noticed before, and it has so many jokes. And it was so funny.
Yeah, I've seen that several times. See, the first time I saw it, I was just like, it wasn't bad. It was like the other guys, where it took multiple viewings for me to really like it.
Will Ferrell said that's his favorite character he's ever played.
I'm not surprised.
He said he'll play it anytime.
Yeah, the sequel, though?
I thought the sequel was good. Again, that's a huge shadow to try to fill out.
And that's the problem.
And that movie was so good.
That's the problem, though. It's like everybody's got these expectations, and I don't even think that they weren't even wanting to do a sequel. And it's like they heard enough people saying,
"You have to do a sequel."
Yeah, that they were like forced themselves to write a sequel, and so a lot of these jokes just came off bland because they're like, "Well, let's do it."
Oh shit, that was my number 12. I'm just realizing I was off on the count.
Okay.
So this is my number 11.
Okay.
Menace to Society.
Okay.
It was the grittier Boys in the Hood. Came out a few years after Boys in the Hood, I believe. And Lorenz Tate, the dude that played Kane, Samuel L. Jackson, just...
It's a former winner.
It's a former winner, and it's so iconic. We've talked about it, but, I mean, that opening liquor store scene still, I think, probably remains one of the most iconic moments, because it just was so shocking at that point in time. Those kind of movies weren't around back then.
I just like the glass Gatorade bottles on the shelf in the opening scene.
Oh.
It's something that nobody even... It just happens to be in the background, but I notice it because there aren't glass Gatorade bottles anymore.
Jada Pinkett Smith,
Yep.
as well, is great. But yeah, former winner, another champion. So top 10, right?
Yep.
You want me to go ahead?
Yep.
All right, number 10, A Showdown Loser. White Men Can't Jump.
Yeah.
Still this day, the best basketball movie ever made.
Except
Wesley
for Blue
Snipes,
Chips.
Woody Harrelson, amazing. My number 9. I actually switched this one on the fly, by the way.
Uh-oh.
This was originally further down, and I moved it to this spot because I felt it deserved it. Harold and Kumar Go
Which
to
one?
White Castle.
Okay.
The original. I remember when it came out and all I heard was the title, I was like, that's got to be the stupidest fucking movie ever made. And then I remember I was living in, actually, this same complex. This is my first time living in these apartments. Is when they were really bad and shitty and ran down.
Yeah.
But me and my roommate, both just a couple of bachelors, no kids, doing stand-up comedy. And he's like, I was like, hey, I'm going to rent a movie. He was like, what about that Harold and Kumar thing? And I was like, oh, man, I don't know, dude. It sounds so stupid. And he's like, well, fuck it. All right, get something. So I go and I decide to take a look. And I look at the box. And I was like, oh, okay, fuck it. Maybe I can write a joke about how bad it is. That may be from expectation to laugh. That's the Blair Witch, like, of laughter. From what I was expecting to how hard I laughed at that movie, I don't even know if, even though I have other comedies ranked higher, I laughed harder at that movie the first time I watched it than any other movie I think I've ever laughed at in my life. It's so fucking funny.
I actually have my own little story about that movie. We got sneak preview passes for it when it came out in the theaters.
Ah.
So we go, and like towards the end of the film, all the power goes out. So we're like, what the hell? So that they ended up getting the power back on, but then gave everybody passes to come back and watch another movie. So I'm like, everybody in this theater already had free passes to come see this. Now you're giving them free passes again. So I was like, screw it, I'll take it.
So did you watch it?
Oh yeah.
And then were you high?
I don't know if I was or not.
Oh, I was. And like I just remember as soon as you get that first scene where Harold gets home to Kumar and they start smoking weed.
Yeah.
Like I just remember I had smoked before the movie started, and me and my roommate just kind of looked at each other and were like, let's play along. And you smoke as they smoke in the movie, and I mean it's just Christopher Milani.
He's hilarious. Playing,
what was his name? Freak Show.
Yeah.
The song. I can't say part of it, but the devil's everywhere. Hey, Randy, what?
He's hilarious.
N-word, what? The devil's everywhere. Hey, Randy, what? Cigarettes, what? The devil's... Like, just so... Yeah, you guys want to go in, get a bite to eat, fuck my wife, watch some TV. Just so funny.
And the chick that plays his wife, Malin Ackerman.
My friend Mark is probably one of the most, the most skeptical people when it comes to any comedy. Doesn't think much of anything is funny, and he even admits that's one of the funniest movies of all time.
Real funny.
It's a great movie. So my number 8.
Yeah.
Probably the most recent movie that's on my list. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about the comics. I knew nothing about anything. I just knew it was a comic movie with Chris Pratt. I love Chris Pratt. I think everything he's done is great. And just walked out going, that's one of my favorite movies. Just had that feeling. Great movie.
I am going to kick myself because I did not include that on my list.
Ooh, yeah.
But
I honestly thought it got robbed of not even... Because was it even nominated for Best Picture?
No.
Yeah, I thought that... I think it suffered from being a comic book movie.
Yeah. I think so, too. And I think we talked about this in one of our shows, in our year-end show, that it was probably... I think it was my number one film of last year.
Yeah.
That I thought was, and I think Vic may have had it as his number one, too.
It wasn't
like
even like...
two.
Even though it was obviously a complete comic book movie of a talking raccoon and everything else.
Yeah.
It felt... You bought it. You bought that it was all possible. In this other galaxy, everything seemed to make sense.
Yeah.
Number 7... No, yeah. Number 7 is Step Brothers. Mm-hmm. I have it higher on my list than you did, but it's my favorite Will Ferrell movie. John C. Reilly, those two, it's their best work by far.
Yeah.
Everything about that movie is funny.
Absolutely hilarious.
Adam Scott is great.
I'll tell you who's great, and I always forget her name. Catherine Hahn, is that her name? That plays Adam Scott's wife.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, she's so funny.
She's great on Parks. She was great on Parks and Rec too.
Yeah.
And that's I think one of those. I hope they never try to
Don't do a sequel.
Yeah, don't do that one. You just got to leave alone. I understood Anchorman.
Will Ferrell, Mr. Ferrell, come here. If you're listening.
Yeah, how dare you address him by the first name?
If you're listening, please don't do a sequel to Step Brothers. Thank you. Okay.
All right, number 6.
Yes.
The Wrestler.
Yeah.
Mickey Rourke, probably I'd say his best role, and a very realistic view of what life is like for a lot of independent and past their prime wrestlers. Because you have Jake Roberts, which is kind of he was kind of, I think, the base model for the character.
Possibly so. I've heard, I'll listen to Chris Jericho's podcast, and I think he's talked about it with other wrestlers that he's had on there, and some of them, I think, have mixed feelings on the movie itself.
Yeah, but it was widely received. I mean,
right, I know.
They had Mickey Rourke at WrestleMania.
Right, I know it. Yeah.
And it was, as a comedian, you see a lot of parallels in wrestling as far as the business of it, because I started off, I'm still doing these last 2 shows, Thursday and Friday, were at, one was a steakhouse in Spiceland, Indiana. You've never heard of that. Yeah. And the other was a Eagles Lodge in Clinton, Indiana. And
Bill Clinton or George?
Neither. Whatever the racist Clinton is. But it's the same way as these guys doing gymnasiums and doing boys and girls clubs. Yeah. And you always go out to these things and you see the 1 or 2 guys that you're like, oh, that guy could possibly do, he has a chance to make it or do something bigger. They're bigger than the venue. Mm-hmm. And when you're a comedian, you start to feel like that at certain places after you've been doing it a certain period of time and your act's moved up and everything else. So I really related to the movie on that aspect of life on the road, how hard it is to keep a normal family relationship, to keep... it's a hard lifestyle, and I thought that movie captured it perfectly. So that's my number 6.
Okay.
Do you want to do your 10 through 6?
Yeah, no, go ahead and go all the way to number 1.
Okay. My number 5. Remember when we talked about with Tusk, that uneasy feeling?
Yes.
My number 5 movie is the king of that feeling, and that's Requiem for a Dream. This is such a good movie. If you have not seen it, in the words of Will Ferrell's James Lipton, go to wherever videotapes are sold or rented, buy or rent it, and watch it now. It is a great movie. You will never look at Marlon... You'll never be able to watch White Chicks the same way after seeing Marlon Wayans in this movie. It's a movie about addiction. Jared Leto, whatever, how you say his last name. What's her name? Jennifer Connelly. Marlon Wayans. Ellen Burstyn, who was amazing and I believe was nominated for an Academy Award for her performance. The guy, Shooter McGavin, as the crazy talk show host. You know what I'm talking about? Yep. With the refrigerator and stuff like that. I have a story about this movie.
Okay.
So I've always, I don't know where it is now, I lost it at some point, but for years I always had it on DVD and I would watch it a lot. But I'd always have to be in a certain mood. It was normally late at night if I couldn't, if I was having trouble sleeping or whatever and I just wanted to kill time. But I moved in with this girl, right? And lazy Sunday afternoon, she wants to watch it. I'm like, no, you don't want to watch it. Like, I don't think you can handle this life. She demands to watch it. So we start watching it, right? It's a long movie. I've seen it hundreds of times at this point. So I fall asleep. Because I told her, I go, you're not going to feel right after this movie. I said, don't watch it. She watched it. I fall asleep. I wake up as the credits are starting to roll. I look over, and she is sitting on the bed in the fetal position, just rocking back and forth, going, you're right. I don't feel right. Something's wrong with me. I don't feel good. I just don't feel there's something not right. And I was like, God damn it, I told you. And the first time I watched it, I was extremely drunk and extremely high at Vincennes University, and this movie freaked me the fuck out. Like, it's not a good movie when you're in college and you're planning, like, going out to a club or something, and one of your friends is like, oh, dude, we'll still have a few hours before we go to the party. Let's watch Requiem for a Dream. That's an awful idea, because you're just like, oh my God, we're all going to die or end up in prison. Why are we smoking this weed? But, yeah, it's the anti-stoner movie, because you want to be kind of sober and have your wits about you, so you realize it's a movie, but it's a good one. My number 4 is the highest rated comedy I have, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Steve Carell's big breakthrough movie, all-star cast and ensemble, if you will.
Yes.
And just, again, original. You hadn't never seen anything close to that.
It was different. I liked it.
Yeah, Seth Rogen was great in it. Paul Rudd, again, making another appearance on my list in my creepy obsession. But just an overall really funny movie. One of the funniest movies ever. Like, you can't find anything really wrong with it. There's not a part you can look at and say that the joke didn't land. You know, I think every joke landed.
Now that you mention you have an obsession with Paul Rudd, I'm thinking taking the poster for Dinner for Schmucks and replacing Steve Carell's head with your head, because Paul Rudd is, like, on the poster with him. They're, like, right behind him or
Can
something.
I have, like, my head on his shoulder?
Yeah, something like that.
Like, adoringly looking at him?
Yeah.
I'd be down with that.
If anybody's listening that can do good Photoshop, work on that for us. Thanks.
There's a really funny picture on my Facebook page of me with a shot glass in my hand of liquor, and it's obvious on by my face I don't deserve or need another shot. It's pretty funny.
There you go. Use that picture.
Number 3, The Dark Knight.
Yep.
I think it's the best comic book movie ever. I think it's got my favorite comic book character of all time, the Joker, and Heath Ledger just crushed that role. It's a showdown champion. It is, yeah.
Let me ask you this. This is kind of timely. Last night, I'm sure you saw it, they released the Jared Leto...
the picture?
The picture of Jared Leto as the Joker. Thoughts?
I don't know, man. It's weird.
I will be fine if he has a shirt on during the movie. For the most part. I don't like the teardrop tattoo. I don't like the tattoo across his forehead. I
don't honestly really like the tattoos, period.
I don't either.
It's hard for me to imagine the Joker like telling somebody like, now this is what I want on my arm. Yeah. And then just sitting there like, oh, it kind of hurts when they first do it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
By the way, do I not do a badass Joker voice?
That's pretty good, yeah. That's why I said if he had the shirt on that covers up all his tattoos, you don't see him. But half those didn't even make sense. Why would he have that? The ha-ha-ha? That was off one of the posters from the previous Batman movie. So that was only specifically made for the movie. And the Cheshire Cat smiley face, again, another thing that was off the back of the DVD.
Well, yeah.
It's like, come on.
But but theoretically, those could be tattoos a Joker would get. But again, it's trying to convince me that he's going to, like, you know... Yeah. Like, I could see if he had, like, something he carved into his own arm or something, but for him to, like, sketch it out, oh, I need to get some colored pencils after we rob this bank tonight. I've got to work on my tattoo stencils.
And what about the grill? Seriously?
Oh, yeah. I thought he, like, was on meth.
Yeah. It's just, this thing, here's the problem.
What is this for, by the way? I still haven't figured this out.
Suicide Squad.
I don't know what that is.
Suicide Squad is a comic book, obviously. It's... The government goes to these... They need some people brought in. I think it's they either need him killed or brought in, and the only people that can do it are the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad consists of bad guys. And they put some kind of bracelet on him that will not be removed until the thing is done. And if they try and remove it, it'll kill them. So that's why, they get the name Suicide Squad. The Joker actually is not even part of the Suicide Squad. So in this movie, he is going to make, I guess, he just has this small part. But Harley Quinn is part of the Suicide Squad. Now, if you don't know who Harley Quinn is...
I do know who she is because I played Arkham games.
Okay. So she's one of them. There's like four or five other ones. Will Smith is playing one of those characters. He's playing I think he's playing Deadshot. Deadshot is a cool character. Will Smith as Deadshot is not a cool character. I think the whole casting, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, I could probably get behind. But I think this movie, the casting has been terrible.
I'm not going to rule out Jared Leto as the Joker, though. Regardless of the look, he's a good actor.
Yeah,
I can act.
I just think that there's been a lot of people were overlooked in some of these roles and could have made it.
Well, I was obviously overlooked,
right? But I think DC just does a terrible job at casting, and I think this is just going to be. I mean, hell, you just look at that picture of Jared Leto, and it's like, oh man, they did something wrong here. This is not going to be well.
So he's just going to have a small role?
I think so. It's possible. It could be bigger, but it's not going to make sense if you go by the comics because...
Well, like I said, even if let's say he has a small role, that's how powerful that character is, that's what they're using to get attention, and that's getting them buzz.
Yeah. I think, and if you have to do that, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Because look what Marvel did with Guardians of the Galaxy. They didn't have to throw Captain America or Iron Man in there to get the buzz. They set it up. A bunch of characters you never heard of before.
That might be lightning in a bottle, though. I don't know how often that happens.
Well, I'm just saying. But Suicide Squad, people know who Harley Quinn is. And for the most part, you know who Deadshot is, too. I mean, some people do. But...
no, I mean, just as far as lightning in a bottle, as far as nobody knew who... A lot of people didn't know who the characters of Guardians of the Galaxy were, but still went to go see it.
Yeah. I mean, it just... Marvel is so many... miles ahead of DC as far as making films.
I don't know, man. Superman versus Batman looks pretty sweet.
I'm not sold on it yet.
Really? Did you see the new trailer?
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Ben Affleck to destroy the role of Batman, and so all these fucking people who are such smart fans can just have a giant cock stuffed in their mouth.
I didn't buy people's argument of Ben Affleck as Batman, because here's the thing. He has to play the role of Bruce Wayne. Yes, he's also Batman at times because you see his chin, but that's the only time you're going to see him as Batman is when he's talking. So it's basically him talking with a mask on. Any other time, the fight scenes, that's a stuntman. So I'm fine with him playing that character. And all those people saying, "Oh, he can't play Batman." Yes, he can. He can play Batman because it's a stuntman that's playing.
Well, but it's also more important. I think he probably does a decent amount of his own stunts. He's in pretty good shape.
He is, but they're not going to let him.
But I would imagine though, a lot of playing Batman is playing Bruce Wayne. More importantly, like you said, and I think he'll do great at that. Playing a rich guy with a lot of confidence, kind of a chip on his shoulder. I think he can handle that. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be good.
All right, so carry on.
So number 2, Goodfellas. I mean, it was Best Picture award winner, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure.
It was at least nominated. But, I mean, Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro, kind of their most iconic dual performances together. Ray Liotta carrying the film as the lead was an excellent choice. Just everything about the movie was done right. It's a long movie, but you don't ever think of it as a long movie. You don't think of it as a long movie, though, because the pacing is very good. Like, they do a good job of moving the story forward the whole time so that you're not... I mean, the scene where he goes and beats the shit out of the guy that drops her off. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a great scene. Every scene Joe Pesci's in, he steals that movie.
Yeah.
Like, he does such a good job of stealing the movie. And then especially, like, just, there's so many just left turns when you think Pesci's going to be a made man and he walks in, you realize, like, he looks around, sees the empty room, and he just knows instantly that he's about to die. Yeah. Just everything about that movie was perfect. I can't find fault in it.
Okay.
Number 1?
Yep.
All right.
I think I have a feeling. It doesn't help that I actually saw it.
It's one of the most iconic movies ever. It's a Best Picture winner. It's the ultimate underdog story. It's a movie that spawned an entire franchise.
The Godfather?
It's better. It's Rocky. It's the Italian Stallion meets Apollo Creed. It's just, I can watch it any number of times. If I had to watch one movie for the rest of my life, I would want it to be Rocky. Because that would at least inspire me to try to figure out a way to watch other movies. Because that's what that movie does to you. You can't watch Rocky and not feel like motivated to do something positive with your life.
You feel motivated to go run up some stairs.
I mean, he's the ultimate underdog, the complete unknown. He's just a regular guy living in Philly, doing this little boxing thing on the weekend, and then he gets a chance by way of luck and fate. He gets a chance, an opportunity to go one-on-one with the heavyweight champion of the world. And what's supposed to be a big spectacle and just kind of an exhibition and a 3-round, show turns into one of the most iconic boxing matches. It's such a good movie that they have a statue of him in Philadelphia on the steps that he ran up in the movie that they were then able to later on in later movies use. Like that's Bill Burr has a great joke about how people in Philadelphia, like, they worship a fictional boxer. And I can't remember who it was, but also the joke, like, you think of the best white boxers of all time is like Rocky Marciano, Rocky Balboa.
Rocky Marciano.
I mean, it's
every time somebody bring the white guy, we gotta bring up Rocky Marciano.
It's just such a good movie. Again, it's another movie I just can't find fault in.
All right. My top 10. We'll go through this a little bit quickly. Usual Suspects is my number 10. The first time I saw this, it was like, wow, I wonder who this guy is, who Kaiser Soze is. You go through this. Have you seen it?
I've never seen it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to spoil it then because I want you to watch this. And you sit there and listen to the story that Kevin Spacey's telling about how they got this group of guys together they were hired by Kaiser Soze, and so you hear this whole story that Spacey's telling the police officer, and it's amazing how it all plays out. Normally, I would say fuck it and give spoilers, but since you haven't seen it, sorry, fans. I know listeners. Normally,
they're wearing their Corey shirts right now.
Yes, they are. If normally we would spoil it and you'd be screwed, but because he's the co-host, I'm not going to spoil it for him. So definitely check that out. Number 9 is Best in Show. This is another ensemble cast.
Fred
Willard, Eugene Levy, Stifler's mom.
I believe I'm working with Eugene Levy's kid soon.
Oh, yeah?
I believe I'm working with his son in a couple weeks.
Doing stand-up?
Mm-hmm.
Jane Lynch, Michael McKean. This is a great cast. It's so funny about all these people that are taking their dogs to the Westminster Dog Show. It is so funny. It's a mockumentary.
And that was that the first? Because they did some other ones, right?
They did.
Mighty Wind?
Well, they did. First, they did Spinal Tap. He did Spinal Tap. That was the very
with that
first
group?
One. No, not with
That's
that group.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, you're talking about with the group. Waiting for Guffman was first. And then they did Best in Show. And then, what was the one you just said?
Mighty Wind?
Mighty Wind. Mighty Wind was next, and then For Your Consideration was the fourth one. But if you get a chance to watch these are just absolutely hilarious. My number 8, Pulp Fiction. This is one I saw at the Movies 8 at the Dollar Movie when it came out, and I have been in love with it ever since. It's so great. It's often imitated and never duplicated. Number 7, Natural Born Killers.
Ooh.
Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis. This is one, I can't remember if I saw this one in the theater or not.
It was controversial.
Yeah. Oliver Stone. It was
graphic.
Yeah, it was, and it's I don't know how many times I've seen this movie. It's always going to be.
That whole sequence with Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, yeah.
It's so creepy.
It's and it's funny too.
Disturbing.
Yeah. Number 6. This is my top comedy, and that's Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
It's a classic.
Yes. I love this movie. This is another one like Dazed and Confused, where in high school we rented it and watched it so many times in one weekend that I think we probably had close to the entire movie memorized all the way through. And we still quote it to this day. Number 5, Fight Club.
Hey. The first rule. You don't talk about it.
All right, so moving on to number 4. The one thing I did want to say was about this. Yeah, it's totally a crazy movie to sit there and try and figure out the first time you watch it. You kind of catch on some things the second time you watch it. But thanks to CinemaSins, they ruined it for me. But I didn't move it out of my top 5. I know they're trying to be funny, but they do bring up a lot of good points. Number 4 is the original, not the Spike Lee version, Old Boy. Yes, Chan-wook Park directs this one. It's the first time I saw this. I don't remember how I heard about it, but I finally was able to get a copy of it from Blockbuster when they were still open. I watched it. I was like, "Oh my god, that's an awesome freaking film!" And then when Borders was still open, I found a special edition. It was a tin case, and it had like a 4 DVD set, and it came with a strip of the movie from the actual film.
Really?
It was in there, yeah, and it had a book in there too. I was like, I want that. So I dropped like $30 on it.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's awesome. You'll have to check it out sometime. I think it might even be streaming on Netflix. So my number 3 is one that I mentioned in passing earlier, The Godfather. This is one actually that yeah. I think did we?
You've done it.
Did I pick this one? Okay,
Yep.
I thought I picked this one on.
You did that against was it the Goodfellas episode?
No, it was Godfather. It was against Gladiator.
Oh, that's right, with Vic.
Yeah.
When I was the ref.
Yeah. So we'll move on. Number 2. I've said it in the last episode that I'm not a big Western liker. I don't really like a lot of Westerns. And I realized after I said that and in between episodes here, I realized
Ways to Die in the West is your number 2.
I had what? No. That I've got Young Guns and what was the other one that I have? Tombstone. I also own both of those on DVD. But this one, my favorite one, Once Upon a Time in the West. This movie is absolutely breathtaking. I mean, it's come on TV before, and I'm flipping through, and I just stop and I just sit there and watch it.
Who's the main cowboy?
The main cowboy. Sorry, I've got to look at you. Put me on the spot here. Henry Fonda. It's also got Jason Robards in it. Charles Bronson's in it.
What year did it come out?
1968.
Ah,
yeah. This thing is absolutely. It's so amazing. It's a bit long. I'm trying to see. It doesn't tell me how long it is here. Oh, 175.
jeez, 3 hours.
Yeah. So it's a bit long, but it's worth it. It's so amazing. It's about Claudia Cardinal plays a woman who comes back. She had been out of town. She comes back on the train to her family, and her family's getting prepared, for her to come back. And these bad guys show up, and they kill the entire family. This is in the first 5 minutes, so I'm not spoiling anything. they kill the entire family because they want the land, because they know the train is going to be running through there, so they want that land so they can sell it and make the money, and that's what they're going through and doing. Well, Henry Fonda sees this. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Henry Fonda. He sees this. He doesn't like it, so he plays the good guy, and while Jason Robards is the bad guy, and Jason Robards is freaking awesome as the bad guy, and Claudia Cardinal, hot. She looks amazing in this, and it's just there's not much else I can say about this. Definitely go check it out. It's, even though it's long, it's still
I was going to say, like, you made it sound interesting.
Yeah, it's really good.
But it's 2 hours and 55 minutes, and there's no cell phone, so I don't think I'll be.
But it's in color.
Yeah, it's got that word for it.
All right, and the number one, what you've all been waiting for. This is the film that this is the first time I'd ever heard of this director when I first saw this, and it actually got me really interested, and I think this is probably what sparked my interest in filmmaking, and that movie is Reservoir Dogs. When I first saw it, I'm trying to see when it came out. It came out in 92. I probably saw it in 92 or 93 on VHS. In case you don't know what VHSs are, they're tapes that had a movie on it.
They were a pain in the ass.
Yes, they were, especially if they got caught up in the VCR, and then you had to try and jimmy it out, then have to wind it all up. Anyway, Reservoir Dogs, I have seen this movie so many times. I've tried to get my wife to watch it. She won't do it. I can't say enough about this movie. Yeah, sure, there might be a few little flaws here and there, but this is by far Tarantino's best. I mean, Pulp Fiction gets a lot of credit, of how good it is, which it is. But Reservoir Dogs was just, it was amazing. And the writing, I mean, the dialogue, I mean, his explanation of Madonna's like a virgin, I mean, it's awesome. It's just it's so funny. And I just love it. The diner scene at the beginning when they're deciding whether or not to tip the waitress, and I don't tip. I just love it. I mean, everybody's great in it. Chris Penn, Steve Buscemi, Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth. It's a hell of a cast. I love it. So that wraps up our top 100.
Holy cow!
Yes,
it's a wild journey.
It has been a wild journey, and we want to thank you for sticking around.
And hopefully, we'll get Vic back real soon. And he'll make his triumphant return to the showdown. And he can...
But I'm going to make his return rough. The next episode we got coming is our monster episode. And it's going to be Hatchet. No, I'm sorry. That's the next episode. Scratch that. You didn't hear that. The next episode is actually an episode that was supposed to be recorded before Tax Day. And it was supposed to coincide with Tax Day.
It's going to be
Boiler Room, which is Vic's pick, versus Wall Street, which is my pick. So we'll see how that goes.
And then the following episode
is going to be our monster episode, which is Hatchet, Adam Green's Hatchet, going against Monster Squad from the 80s.
Yeah, Monster, like M-O-N?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of... Figured you might have like a Godzilla or King Kong, but that's just me.
No, that's Vic's pick. My pick was Hatchet. So until then, we want to say thanks for listening, sticking around, and we will talk at you in a couple weeks.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter with the at the Showdown Pod. Tweet us questions. Let us know what you think. If you have a disagreement about either of our lists, let us know. And again. On behalf of Vic, who's not here,
Slacker,
and Corey.
Yep.
We want to say, and I'm Brad Scott. I want to say thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Later. I love that music.
So good.
Love it. R.I.P. Kurt Hennig.